Are you a stubborn person? Because let me tell you right now, I'll be the first to admit that I am one of the most stubborn people ever, okay? Especially when it comes to things with God and with my plans in life and things like that. I am very stubborn, very, very stubborn. And sometimes it's not always bad, but sometimes it can be, as we know. A lot of times in life, I want this thing, but God's like, no, this is what you need. This is what I have in store for you. This is better. But I'm like, no, I want this. God's like, come on, no, this is what you need. I'm like, no. So God's like, all right. So if you're a stubborn person like me, I want to offer a little analogy, metaphor, thing, whatever you call it. So basically, imagine this. This is what we want. This is what God wants. Imagine a concrete ceiling over what we want. Up above it is what we want. Over on this side, this is what God wants. It's a glass ceiling. Above it is what God wants. Okay? And let's say we're underneath of it and that we have a screwdriver. Okay? Now, of course, we're going to go after what we want, which is right here, which is concrete ceiling. So we're going to take that screwdriver and we're going to sit there and we're going to try to chip it. We're going to keep jumping up. We're going to jump up and it's going to be super hard. I mean, it's going to be near impossible to break that ceiling and get through it. You know what I mean? That's almost impossible. How are we going to do that? And God's like, hey, that's not what you need. That's not what you're supposed to have. That's not my plan for you, and that's not good. Okay, let's just be real. You may think it's good, but it's not. Now come over here to this glass ceiling, which is a whole lot easier to break through, and what's above it is a whole lot better. But us stubborn people, such as me, as I've said, are like, no, I want this. What's above the concrete ceiling. God's like, bro, you're never going to get that, and it's just not good. Like, that's not what I have in store for you. That's not the plan. That's not good. We know God knows best, but us stubborn people still think for some reason we know best. I'm talking to myself. So we sit there and we keep going. Finally, we're like, good Lord, this is not going to happen. I'm going over the glass ceiling. Let's give it a shot. God's like, yes, finally. So you finally go over to the glass ceiling, okay? You finally get over here, and you take it, and you chip, and you throw it, and it's still going to be a little bit hard. You know, you got to jump up, and you got to throw it, and you got to try to get it. So it still will be a little bit difficult, but I can guarantee you right now it's going to be a whole lot easier to get to that above that glass ceiling than it is above the concrete ceiling, and to break that glass than it will be to break the concrete. So finally, you break it. You break through that glass ceiling, and you get what God had in store for you, and it's great, and it's wonderful. Then you take a little bit of time, months, years, whatever, and you look back at the concrete, and you're like, man, why in the world would I ever want that? That is horrible. God's like, I tried to tell you, man. I tried to tell you. I don't know, guys. It's an analogy that it just popped into my head just a few minutes ago, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Hope that you learned something from that. Anyways, take care, guys, and I love you.